Hello everyone, it's Marif, and today we have a long-term review for the iPhone 11. I used it as my daily driver throughout all of 2023 up until I upgraded to the iPhone 15 around 2024, and honestly, I love this phone to this day. Alright, let's break down how this former flagship holds up, and if there is anything you'd like to know further, please do leave a comment below. Alright, let's begin with the build and design. So the iPhone 11 still feels incredibly premium. I absolutely love the back glass design, especially in the vibrant product red color. Oh my god, I wish Apple brings this back. And if red isn't your vibe, Apple also offered it into a whole rainbow of colors. There is black, green, yellow, purple, and white. It's a design language that still holds up beautifully today, and it's sturdy, so it fits quite well in hand, even though it's like 6.1 inch and whatnot. Honestly, the aesthetics are just timeless. So just keep in mind that the glossy back does attract fingerprints and it can be a bit slippery. So I would recommend slapping a case based on whichever color you choose. For the display here, the iPhone 11 features a 6.1-inch liquid retina IPS LCD screen. That's a lot to say, but that's just like a fancy LCD screen. It has amazing colors despite it not being OLED. It provided a fantastic viewing experience for media consumption and gaming alike. I personally have absolutely no complaints here, even though that notch might be a bit bothersome for the time being, but you just get quite used to it. But I didn't have much complaint due to the color accuracy and how amazing the display was despite it not being an OLED. Next up is performance, and here's where we need to talk about the elephant in the room: storage. The A13 Bionic chip itself is still very capable, and every iPhone 11 model comes with 4 gigs of RAM, but my variant was the base 64 gigs model. Guys, 64 GB is just ridiculously low for this generation. I had to keep deleting my images every month or so just to keep the phone breathing. That's where Google Photos came in actually. That's where I used to keep backing up all of my data. Now for those of you who are looking into buying one of those used today to save some cash, please do yourself a favor and look for the 128 gigs if that satisfies you. Otherwise, just go for the 256 variant. The advantage of going for these higher storage options is massive. It gives you the breathing room to download large games without any anxiety. You can keep your 4K videos locally and actually also have space to install future iOS updates because they keep on getting bigger as day goes by. And day-to-day speed will be exactly identical because they all share the same chip and then the same 4 gigs of RAM. But getting that additional storage will just get you out of the storage headache that I had to deal with. Alright, let's talk about gaming here. This is where the iPhone 11 really surprised me. It was able to run absolutely any game I threw at it without breaking a sweat. Now, it did have a tendency to get hot during intense sessions, but, and this is like a big but, it never got too hot to the point where I had to leave the phone aside to cool down. Ironically, that's something I have had to do with my newer iPhone 15, which is both weird and surprising. So the iPhone 11 just tanked through the heat and kept on pushing. If you're interested in purchasing this phone for gaming, I would recommend it. But don't expect it to beat 120 FPS at the ultra graphics because it's an older chip. Moving on to battery life, and I'll be direct, it was bad due to the lower mAh capacity compared to today's standards. It just couldn't keep up with my heavy modern demands. It could survive a standard workday, but by evening, the battery anxiety was real. I was always rushing to recharge or get home ASAP. I ended up having to carry a power bank on me at all times. And it was a big reason why I also carried my secondary phone with me, the Z Fold 2, just to offload some of the battery pressure. Let's talk about the sound quality here. The stereo speakers on the iPhone 11 was amazing. They get plenty loud, they retain great clarity, and they deliver immersive audio experience. Whether you're watching YouTube videos or gaming without headphones, I felt this was sufficient. And Apple did an amazing job in terms of the speakers and microphones. I never had anyone complaining about my microphone quality, neither did I have any complaints about listening to the other person speaking from the similar device. Moving on to the camera here, even years after its release, the dual 12 megapixel camera setup, wide and ultra wide, it's amazing. Personally, I don't prefer or I don't use telephoto much. I'm just fine with the 2x and 4x that are already built in the wide lens. And the camera in iPhone 11, it captures detailed, vibrant photos, and the 4K video recording, it remains top tier. I personally locked it into 1080p 60 fps because I prefer it to be smoother. Anytime I had a chance to snap a picture, it reliably captured all of my moments perfectly, right up until I ran out of the storage to save them again. Front camera isn't that bad at all too. I personally was using the back camera more often than the front. Ultra wide lens seems quite wider compared to the latest iPhones. I personally liked the ultra wide from iPhone 11 compared to my iPhone 15. In conclusion, the iPhone 11, it's an absolute tank and a fantastic daily companion. The display, the cameras, the speakers, they still punch above their weight, and its gaming endurance is surprisingly solid for such an old device. However, the battery life and the base 64GB storage are just major hurdles today. Despite it being released back in 2019, if you're looking to upgrade right now, it is definitely better to jump to the latest iPhone if possible, or at least the iPhone 15. Speaking of the 15, having Type-C on all of my devices now makes life so much easier that I literally can explain it in this video. I praise the Type-C gods for finally ending the cable clutter. If you're buying an iPhone 11 today, get the 128 gigs model at minimum and ensure that your battery health is above 95%, or else carry a power bank and you'll have a highly capable budget device. That's about it from my end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.